He may have missed out last time, but White House hopeful Andrew Yang is back on the debate stage for the New Hampshire Democratic debate. The Supreme Court just allowed the Trump administration to make it harder for low-income immigrants to become U.S. citizens. And President Trump unveils his Middle East peace plan. I'm Julia Manchester in for Jamal Simmons, and this is why you should care. The next Democratic debate stage will be a little more diverse. Presidential hopeful Andrew Yang qualified for the forum after meeting the polling threshold and will take the stage with fellow candidates in Manchester, New Hampshire on February 7th. Democratic National Committee rules for the New Hampshire debate say candidates must meet at least one of its thresholds, coming in at 5% in 4 qualifying national or early state polls between December 13th and February 6th, or garner at least 7% in 2 early state polls in that same time frame. They also have to get 225,000 unique donors from at least 20 states. The 45-year-old entrepreneur came in at 7% and 5% in separate national polls and 5% in 2 New Hampshire surveys. So far, 6 other Democrats have qualified: Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Tom Steyer, Pete Buttigieg, and Amy Klobuchar. Yang has made a strong push ahead of the Iowa caucuses. While a number of his colleagues have been splitting time between Iowa and attending the impeachment trial in Washington, Yang has been on a 17-day tour of the Hawkeye State, so here's why you should care. Last month's Iowa debate drew criticism for its lack of diversity on the stage. Despite being called out by critics, the DNC refused to change the rules for qualification. So far, Yang is the only minority candidate, which could be alarming for the Democratic Party, hoping to score big with minority voters. Yesterday, in a 5-4 ruling, the Supreme Court allowed the Trump administration to proceed with the public charge rule. The rule could make it harder for immigrants to gain legal status if they rely on government aid, including Medicaid, food stamps, and housing assistance. The White House's plan first raised national attention this past fall, when then Acting Director of U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Ken Cuccinelli, revised the famous poem that reads on the Statue of Liberty to "Give me your tired, your poor, who can stand on their own 2 feet." The subject has once again caused a national outcry, with progressive lawmakers among the most vocal. Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez called the ruling shameful, while Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders also condemned the ruling and called for the reversal of President Trump's rule. So why are people outraged, and why should you care? Like we mentioned before, the rule would impact those who are trying to enter the country legally of low income status, which many view as discrimination. Not only does the rule hammer home the political division the country is facing on the issue of immigration, it also touches on the possible partisanship of the Supreme Court, which now leans conservative. In addition, there are economic implications as well. Forbes reported that the administration's public charge rule, which would reduce legal immigration by an estimated hundreds of thousands a year. This could impact the labor force growth in the country in a negative way, since it will slow down the number of immigrants who contribute to that workforce. Joel Prakken of Macroeconomic Advisors estimated to Forbes that if we cut legal immigration in half, the country's economic growth would slow by 12.5% and would just get worse over time. Could this be the lasting legacy of the Trump administration? Some analysts say the implementation of the public charge rule ensures it. President Trump unveiled his much-anticipated plan to establish peace between U.S. ally Israel and the Palestinian government.
People have been working on this for many, many years, and I think we're relatively close, but we have to get other people to agree with it also. I will say many of the Arab nations have agreed to it. They like it. They think it's great. They think it's a big start. I think it's a big start, too. I think it's a fantastic thing if we can pull it off.
Trump announced the plan was coming after meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his opponent in the upcoming election, Benny Gantz. Leaks revealed that the plan would annex a great portion of Palestinian territories, including Jewish settlements and Jerusalem, and it appears to favor Israel. Palestinians would be given restricted self-rule. Palestinian officials who were not part of these discussions aren't happy. The Prime Minister already called on world leaders to boycott. So why should you care? Some, certainly Palestinians, are skeptical of the timing of the plan's announcement and believe it is a distraction from President Trump's impeachment trial and Netanyahu's impending indictments on corruption charges. Netanyahu is also embroiled in a tight election campaign against Gantz. It's unclear what the motivation is, but as President Trump pointed out, brokering this deal isn't easy, and it might be dead in the water before it's barely floated to other countries in the region.
Thanks for watching Hill TV on YouTube. Be sure to click subscribe and hit the bell so you know when we post new videos. And head to thehill.com for all the latest political news.